Hi, this is JP LaForest from Studio JPEG. In this video, I will teach you some exercises you can do to know yourself better as a photographer or videographer, and also how to know your equipment better. Everybody is different, so I recommend that you do these tests by yourself and better understand yourself. There are three important aspects that make an exposure, and those are the aperture, the shutter speed, and the ISO. In this video, I will teach you some tests you can do to learn what range you can be comfortable with all three of these functions. So the first aspect I will look into is the aperture. For that, I recommend that you get a chart, such as this chart from Stephen Weston from Cornell University, and it's an ISO 12233 chart. And you will take a lens, such as this Tamron lens, and put it on your camera, and you're going to take test or simple pictures at every possible setting you can think of. And for now, I'm talking about the aperture. So you're going to try it zoomed out, like this one. It has markings at 70, 100, 135, 200, and 300 millimeters. So each one of those settings that you intend to use, you are going to try the full range of aperture. And this will help you find the range that you find acceptable for taking images with that lens. Personally, I find that for my Tamron lens, at f11 the images are perfect, at f8 they are quite good, and at f5.6 they're good enough if I'm taking portraits. But if I'm taking pictures of animals, wildlife, or mundane objects, then I'm going to want a bit more resolution than that. So that's important to know what you can take pictures of at different settings. If you do have access to the subject matter that interests you, so if you're into portraits, get a model or a friend or anybody that's willing to pose for you, and try your different tests out. Remember that those are tests. In total, I recommend that you spend maybe 500 all the way to 1,000 images on doing various tests. On the long run, it will be very much worth it because you will know yourself better, you will know your equipment better, and the quality of your pictures will improve for that knowledge. So if you have access to your subject matter, I do recommend that you take advantage of that opportunity. If not, you can take pictures of anything, a chair, a salt and pepper shaker, or anything you can find around the house is definitely better than not doing any of these exercises. So after you've tested out what range of aperture that you find usable for your equipment, and I do recommend that you do this for each one of your lenses because each lens is different. And even if you have multiple copies of the same lens, for example, if I had 10 of these Tamron lenses, they would not necessarily all be the same. So I would still have to do the test 10 times to know how each copy behaves. And then you can move on to the next exercise, which will be for the shutter speed. So again, with the shutter speed, there are a few things to watch out for. First of all is you need a shutter speed that is fast enough to prevent camera shake from making any difference in the picture. So if you use a tripod all the time, this is not an issue for you. But if you like to hold the camera in your hands and take pictures, then yes, you will have to do these tests and know which shutter speeds you can get away with based on your own stability. You can always, brace yourself better, your shoulders and your ribs, and hold the camera steady, use your core muscles and everything, which will improve the stability of the camera and the images. But there are still limitations. a general rule of thumb is you take the focal length. So if I take this Tamron lens and put it all the way up to 300 millimeters, it would mean that I need a shutter speed of at least 1/300th of a second if I were to handhold it. But this lens has vibration control, so I have to test with and without the vibration control to see where me personally I can successfully take images at. So I know at 1/50th of a second, I really don't have any problems at all, that maybe 99% of my pictures are going to be great. And if I go slower, then I know maybe 1/30th of a second, I can pull it off. And then if I go slower, 1/15th of a second, I start to need a miracle in order for the image to be great. So try it out, take different pictures with different shutter speeds, and you'll know better your own stability at different focal ranges with and without image stabilization, vibration reduction, vibration control, or however your manufacturer called that feature for your lenses or your camera. If you're using a Sony camera, then the image stabilization is directly in the camera itself. And the other thing to watch out for the shutter speed is the blur can be caused not only by yourself shaking the camera, but also by your subject matter moving too quickly. So again, I recommend, for example, if you're taking pictures of birds in flight, then try out different shutter speeds, and then you'll find that maybe for the birds in your area, that 1,000th of a second is perfect, maybe 1/500th of a second is good enough, or it can be anything based on how fast your subject matter moves. If you have a table that doesn't move, then again, that doesn't apply. But if you have a person that's just standing still, if they're really still, then maybe you're going to be fine with 1 second, half a second, or something like that. But if they're dancing, oh, maybe you're going to need 1/50th of a second or 100th of a second or something like that. So again, experiment with different settings for your subject matter and become knowledgeable about when your images are going to become great and when your images might not come out as well as you would like them to be. And again, it's always personal. One person might find something too blurry, and the other person, they might like it that way. But the important is to know your limitations and know your strengths. Know what settings you can get away with and take great pictures with your equipment and with yourself. So the final aspect is the ISO. This time we're going to turn over to the camera, and personally I use the Canon T2i, and I know that if I want perfect pictures, they're going to have to be at ISO 100 or 200. But I know that with good post-production, if I take pictures all the way to ISO 800, it's really not a problem. I can clear it up pretty nicely most of the time. But I know that if I go further than that, all the way at 3200 or even at 12,800, I know that the images are going to be a little too grainy and they're going to start to look more like a newspaper clipping, which in some cases it can be good. And, if that's the only way you can get the picture, then sure, go ahead. But if you can get away with it and take the great pictures at the right settings, then that's even better. So, yeah, I hope this gives you an idea. Again, personally, I did spend maybe over 1,000 pictures trying out these different tests and exercises. And now, when I'm in a situation with my camera and either of the lenses that I own, I know which pictures I can take and which pictures that I might have to change something in the situation. So if it's late at night and it's too dark, and I know that the ISO on my camera would have to be too high, or the aperture of my lens would have to be too wide to take the shot correctly, then I know I have to change something with the lighting, or else the images are not going to come out correctly. And it's better to know beforehand so you can correct something in the situation while you're still there, instead of taking hundreds of pictures at a wedding or an event or anywhere that you are, or even on vacation or in your personal time. And then you get home, you load the images on your computer, you start looking at them, and you're like, oh shoot, this didn't come out right. My shutter speed was too slow, my aperture, f5.6 didn't work for this shot, and so do those tests before, as spend a few hours, know your equipment, know yourself, and that's going to save you a lot of time and trouble down the road. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful, and I hope that it's going to help improve your photography and videography skills. If you liked it, please click the like button, and likewise, if you like to see more videos, click the subscribe button, leave a comment, questions, suggestions below, and share with a friend. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.